Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
As we discuss about innovations, Lord, we pray that you may help us, that we discuss it in truth and integrity, King of glory. Pray for your guidance. We pray, Jehovah, let your presence be with us. That, Lord, as we do the innovations, we pray that we balance with stewardship. That, Lord, as we take care of your creation, we pray that, Lord, you be with us and let your presence be with us. We pray for each and every one of us who has attended this meeting, that, Lord, may you help us, that we attend this meeting, and, Lord, may you guide us. We pray for your presence. Lord, be with us as we conclude. For the glory and honor of your name, we pray.
Amen. Asante sana daktari, naomba tuweze kuketi pamoja. Asanteni sana nyote kwa kuweza kufika kwenye ukumbi huu tunapoanza ufunguzi rasmi ya ubunifu ya wiki ya 7 katika chuo chetu kikuu cha Eldoret. Kwa hivyo karibuni sana wageni wetu wa heshima, karibuni sana viongozi wa chuo, bodi ya usimamizi wa chuo, maprofesa, wahadhiri, wanafunzi wote na wabunifu wote ambao tumeweza kufikia hapa siku hii ya leo, siku ya pili ya wiki ya 7 ya ubunifu. Na nilipozungumzia kwamba kauli mbiu mwaka huu wa 2026 ni kwamba ubunifu endelevu katika kuhimili mabadiliko ya tabia nchi. Kwa hivyo hapa chuo kikuu cha Eldoret tunapojua kwamba moto ama kauli mbiu yetu hapa ni kwamba tunazungumzia miale ya maarifa na ubunifu. Na siku hii ya leo mgeni wetu wa heshima umeweza kujionea kule nje kwenye vibanda, umeweza kujionea uvumbuzi ambao umeweza kufanywa na wanafunzi wetu na vile vile wageni ambao wametoka kwenye mashirika mbalimbali na vile vile kutoka vyuo mbalimbali. Kwa hivyo hapa chuoni tunazungumzia kwamba ubunifu tena haupo tu darasani ama utafiti maktabani, lakini ubunifu huu na utafiti huu umeweza kutoa suluhisho ama unaweza kutoa suluhisho, na suluhisho ama masuluhisho haya yanaweza kuleta maendeleo katika jamii. Kwa hivyo karibuni kwenye ratiba yetu ya siku hii ya leo, na wakaribisha kwenye uhondo wa siku ya pili ya siku ya ubunifu chuoni. Kwa hivyo kwa muda huu nitamkaribisha Daktari Becky Alo ambaye ataweza kutuletea sehemu ya burudani. Kwa hivyo kwa makofi jamani tumkaribishe daktari ambaye vile vile ameweza kuwa sauti nzito sana katika kazi hii ya ubunifu. Asante daktari.
Thank you very much. We are going to invite our students. These are our very own students from University of Eldoret. They are going to showcase their talent. They are going to entertain us. This is also a form of intellectual property that they are using even to make income. They are also entrepreneurs, so they are going to entertain us. Welcome.
talk about ignorance, for example.
Well, there are 93,998 schools in the country to cover elementary education. And there are 2,400 tertiary institutions. And we also have a dynamic system that keeps changing to adapt to the changes in the market.
I hope you're not talking about the failed CBC.
My friend, don't you know that failure is the basis of innovation? Marquis moved on from CBC to CBE, competency-based education.
But my friend, this is the same education that has made our graduates to continue writing essays from Zungu as they try to survive in this harsh economic environment. For how long will our people continue to stay in poverty?
For as long as they want. You see, our government has provided subsidies for fertilizers. Farmers can produce farm products. We also have, by the way, Unga is affordable right now.
My delusional friend, are you rich? Are you poor?
Hey! Don't you cover Ajaz Bai's book. Don't book Ajaz Bai's cover, whatever. As long as there's a book, Ajaz and a cover, okay? And don't you ever address me as poor. I am not poor.
Okay.
It's just that poverty is with me.
Okay. But you see, this is how conversations end when one person plays defense and the other has to retreat for peace to reign. But mere conversations will not restrain the ever-present danger, which is hunger, from taking over.
Well, in Mukoja Estate, David faces a hard time as his father demands a refund of his school fees because he's not helping him to find a solution to his wilting maize at home. On stage.
My husband is home. How are you?
Hi, I'm very fine.
How was your day?
I'm very fine. My day was fine.
Home.
Thank you.
I missed you.
I missed you too.
You can have a seat.
Thank you.
Maybe in this center. Tell me how you're doing, alright?
Yes, my day was very fine. No. Yeah. And you know, today we had a bishop. My son, yeah? I have been trying to call you so you are here doing oh yes. So. I can see. Yes, Dad. Welcome. Oh, my daughter-in-law, how are you? Oh, they are booty to my son. The Michelle to my son. And the Sarah to my. Now, my daughter-in-law, can you excuse us? I want to speak to my son. No problem. Yes, Dad, have a seat. Have a seat. Huh? My son.
Yes, Dad.
I spend money on you.
Yes, Dad.
Nikakupeleka university. Badala kuniletea solution, uko tu hapa.
What is going
on? No. Let me tell you something. Yes. You know, I remember the school fees I was sending to you. You were playing this thing, it was... What is that?
Dad, I don't understand.
Oh, you think I don't remember? You think I don't remember? Okay. Yes. Now my maize at the farm are wilting.
Dad, hiyo si ni mambo ya climate.
Climate, my food. Climate, my food. Let me tell you something. I want solution. Find solution to the problem at my farm.
But Dad, me, I didn't do agriculture, I did nursing.
Oh, nursing. Yes, we have nursery tree. Wow, yes. This means you will use the knowledge that nursing, yes, to go and nurse the maize.
But Dad, it does not work that way. You see, why don't you sit down? My wife can make you some tea and then we'll talk later. My wife can.
Yes.
Everything is okay. It's okay.
I was with
Just-
some tea.
It's okay.
It's all good.
Yes, it is father and son talk. Yes, it's okay. Solution. What do we do?
About what?
Your father-in-law.
That is how you refer to him nowadays. Funny.
It's one the same thing, potato.
Okay. Well, about that, I did some research and I kind of found a solution.
A solution?
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay. Now you see, this farming production. Yeah. What is its name? Something technology is there. The rains are shifting. So we are.
So we can use the soil to improve
the drip irrigation.
Oh, drip irrigation.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually brilliant, eh? Yeah, nice. You see the importance of marrying right, eh? A woman with brains, eh? But
drip irrigation will help us save water and access plants at the same time.
Oh, yeah, nice, eh? But isn't it expensive?
No. That's the technologies that I mentioned earlier. You see, it has an affordable plan. Look at that. See that a surprise is there for his birthday.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. That is good. We can do that. That is very nice. Eh? It is a very good idea. Yeah.
Well, the skies we once trusted now betray our seeds. Rain arrives late, and the soil cracks its wounds in silence.
Eldoret, a city of champions. Even our fields are in a race. Our clouds, they run and refuse to stay.
And when the world cries, innovation rises. In broken land, we plant new ideas. And in broken soil, we harvest resilience. And today, we do not come just to complain, but to create a sustainable ecosystem for our future. Voices in the air. Through innovation, Kenya will be better. Kenya will be better. Kenya will be better. Kenya will be better. There is a voice telling me, KPLC hawatasumbua common mwananchi because they understand power belongs to people. There is a voice telling me, the system is rigged. Hata kama kuku ni ndege, the plain truth is, with innovation kutakuwa equality, equity, wings to fly na wings to fry. There is a voice telling me, haba na haba ujaza mahaba, baba na mama will make our motherland go further, providing shelter, son will not burn their daughters. I desire Kenya full of brothers, keeper not Cain, kiboko, hippo, Christian Yamadi, they act fish with crocodile tears. Country where ideas zitawekwa kwa billboard, watu wakiona innovation wanaona the bigger picture. A country where Chief Justice will be so confident kusema mada ikome. A country where justice will be our shield and defender, not a field for offenders. A country where hata kama watu watakuwa na verse slides watakuwa wana keep in mind kuteleza si kuanguka. A country where hata kama magavana watatumia account ya watasahau kutumia account.
Very much. Those are our own students with their masters. Thank you.
Jamani, tuweze kuwapigia makofi hao. Wameonyesha hali ya ubunifu hata katika mazungumzo yao, sio? Unasikia tunasema potato na potato. Unasemaje? Potato na potato. Nataka kufikiria kwa sekunde moja. Huni kitu chochote na ueleze jirani yako. Huni kitu chochote. Huni ni innovate, just innovate something, even for 1 second. Huni tunaongeleze jirani yako jamani. Kwa sababu sasa tuko kwenye wiki ya ubunifu. Hata mazungumzo, hata jinsi tunavyoketi, tunavyowaza, lazima kuonyeshe hali ya ubunifu. Na tunashukuru kwamba tunafanya mambo haya yote kwa pamoja Kwa Kiswahili tunasema kwamba kidole kimoja hakifanyi nini? Hakivunji chawa. Shida ni kwamba hatuna chawa siku hizi, ilikuwa kitambo. Sasa wanafunzi wetu jenzi labda wanaweza kukosa kuelewa maana ya chawa, lakini katika ubunifu vile vile tunafanya kwa pamoja, kwa mamoja. Ndio maana hawa wanafunzi wameweza kuigiza kwa pamoja na wameweza kutupatia maudhui mazuri sana kuhusiana na ubunifu. Kwa sasa ningependa kumkaribisha Profesa Lizi Mamburi ambaye ni mkurugenzi wa utafiti na ubunifu, ambaye atakuja hapa. Vile vile atafuatwa na Profesa Philip Raburu ambaye ni naibu makamu chancellor katika mipango, utafiti na upanuzi hapa chuoni. Yeye atakuja kufanya ama kutoa hotuba yake ya ufunguzi, hotuba ya kutukaribisha. Tumpigie makofi Profesa.
Thank you so much, our guest of honor, Dr. Carol Hunja, our Vice Chancellor, members of the University Management Board, senators, our guests, lecturers, staff and students. Welcome to our 7th Innovation Week. As you can see from our theme, Sustainable Innovations for Climate Change Resilience. Since our first Innovation Week that we had here, we have created much awareness among our staff and also confidence among our students, as you have seen, to actually know what innovation is and what intellectual property is. And that is why we can see that today we are able to work with our partners who are here today and others who are not able to come to actually innovate and do so much. We have not reached our peak. We hope that even as we continue, we are going to continue creating awareness. Us as a university, we take pride that now we are encouraging our researchers to actually work with community and be able to actually solve real solutions, so that whatever comes from the research is actually innovative and is actually solving real problems. We know the problems with innovations. So before I welcome the DVC, I just want to recognize members of the university that have made today and this week possible. I recognize the chair of the Board of Research and Innovation, Professor Gelas, if you can just wake up. Of course, Dr. Becky Allo, who is the head of intellectual property management, and her team. Please just wake up where you are. Her team, just wake up and wave where you are. So these are the people that have made this week possible by working quite hard around the clock. So with those, I would like to welcome the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Planning, Research and Innovation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. We are very excited to have this, our 7th Innovation Week, a week that we reflect and look at our innovations and how we can be able to satisfy our motto. And our motto, you know, is what? Flame of knowledge and innovation. And we want that flame to continue burning so that when we leave this university, we will leave this university with something. I've seen some of the professors going home crying, having been a professor for over 78 years and going home with nothing. And once their contract to be renewed until they reach 90, and sometimes our council says when the year now reaches, you have to go home. So we don't want to go home like that, because in this dispensation, there are innovations that we can make which can make us very rich. We have been attending some of these national innovation fairs. Even last week, we were in a meeting in Nairobi where there are several professors who are talking of writing checks of receiving checks of 5 million, 10 million, and whatever million. And we have our young people who are CEOs, and the young CEOs are very rich just because of innovation. So we want to continue to encourage you so much, our dear students and our dear colleagues, the lecturers, so that we can be able to embrace innovation to change our lives. And definitely it is possible, and we are going to make it. I want to thank the team from the Director of Research and Innovation and all our colleagues who are in this ecosystem. And we are doing something. I want to really appreciate our Vice Chancellor, because there's a system of innovation and everybody is being brought on board. And we have been trying to consolidate all those that are in this ecosystem so that we can take the university forward. So thank you so much, Vice Chancellor. We are very happy with your guidance and leadership, and I know that we are going somewhere. I don't want to make a long speech because we have our Vice Chancellor, who is the one who is guiding us on everything that we are doing. It is important for him to make a speech and to open this session officially before he will later invite the chief guest to give us a public lecture. But please allow me just to introduce the members of the management. If you don't mind, you can just stand and face the other side. Members of UMB. We have Professor Luther, he's the acting DVC, Academic and Student Affairs. Then we have Professor Macau, he's the acting DVC, Finance and Administration. Not that we don't have substantives, but substantives had taken leave in the course of the year, so that they refresh a bit, but they're joining us soon, and our colleagues are doing a very good job. We have Registrar Planning, Dr. Oh, he has grown white beards. I've never seen those beards, eh? But that's Ben Mwasi, is the one, the Registrar Planning, in charge of all the planning, all the buildings and everything happening in this university. Thank you so much. We also have directors here. I just stand up, the directors who are here and the deans. We have, those are the directors and the deans. I don't know whether you can wave or I just say your names. Let's just wave. Thank you so much, and they're doing a very good job. We thank you so much. We also having our visitors, the leaders from other different universities who have come up with their participants. Just stand up and wave. I can see that is Kisii University. I've been our very consistent friends. I can see also Baraton. I can see Kabarak. We work so much closely in this innovation ecosystem when we meet to talk about what can be done at the national level. So with those many remarks, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome our Vice Chancellor to come and give us his speech and officially open this meeting. Can we all stand and clap as we invite? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, DVC Pre. Please be seated. This afternoon, I'm very, very delighted to have our chief guest, who was very, very representing the peers, very supportive from our State Department of Higher Education. Before I go through my speech, going through the various innovations and innovative ideas that our staff and students and colleagues from other universities have, it is very clear to me and to all of us that there is a lot of ideas, innovative ideas that we have in our ecosystem. The only challenge that we need to marshal our effort is to ensure that these ideas are commercialized and monetized. I don't think we really need, we don't need money from anyone to be able to be rich in our country. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We barely scratched the surface. Because imagine if all these Kenyan students at various levels, each of them can just think of one innovation and maybe work together with others of similar ideas. Because I think, again, PS, the challenge that we have is we work in silos. Everybody coming up with an idea. Some of the ideas are similar, but they are not consolidated. And because we are in silos, you don't see maybe this one on a different perspective, and so on. Having said that, I think this is a very good start, and we want to appreciate and thank the team led by Professor Philip Raburu, the entire team of research and innovation led by the director, Professor Mwamburi, and the board, and everyone. So the chief guest, Dr. Caroline Uncha, who is the secretary of our State Department for Education, Ministry of Education in our country, all the members of management present, deans, directors, distinguished partners from other universities and from the industry, staff, students, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon again. God is good, and all the time. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this 7th Annual University of Eldoret Innovation Week. It has been great 7 years that this ball is rolling, and there is no turning back. In fact, we are moving forward, speed, full steam. And I want to say that the theme for this year is very, very special, because it talks about sustainable innovation for climate change resilience. And even from the students' drama and play, it is very clear that climate change is with us. And therefore, we must create solutions, just like the way the father was saying, I want solution for my farm. And he has spent a lot of money taking this son to school, but he has no solution to the problem that the father is facing. And this is also very, very close to us, a university, our vision of be a premier university nurturing global leaders and innovators. And also our motto, which Professor Raburu just said very well, flame of knowledge and innovation. For many years, the knowledge has consumed all the time. And innovation has only remained with very, 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 very small proportion of the time and effort. But now we want to balance between knowledge and innovation so that the outcome is innovation, not just knowledge for sake of knowledge, but knowledge for sake of innovation and creating solutions. And we were discussing in another forum that we need in future, from next year, perhaps we co-create solutions. This Innovation Week should also, we should have partners from the industry, bring various actors in our ecosystem, the industry and other partners, so that we co-create solutions. We ask them, what is it that we can work together with them, so that we don't just do research or innovation for purpose of innovation. We do it to solve a problem that already exists. Because the industry is able to connect us with the market. They can be able to, they already understand the needs of the society. I know we do understand also as well, but they have a system of commercializing what we have. So over the past several years, the university has made deliberate efforts to build and nurture our innovation ecosystem. The establishment, for example, of the Intellectual Property Management Office was a critical step towards identifying and protecting innovations emerging from our staff and students. In addition, the university also established the Innovation, Incubation, and Commercialization Center to provide commercialization support for innovators. Also instrumental is the establishment of our student-led innovation club that will be launched during this Innovation Week. Another key milestone for the university is the participation in the third cohort of the Institutional Commercialization Support Program by Kenya. Through this program, our students, academic staff, and Senate members have received a targeted training on innovation governance, commercialization pathways, and entrepreneurship. A key outcome of this engagement is supporting the development of our entrepreneurial and commercialization master plan, which will guide our research to commercialization journey over the next 5 years. This is very, very strategic and very critical as we push towards becoming an entrepreneurial university. These efforts are already bearing fruits. We have acquired new patents and with several more in the pipeline. Our researchers and students continue to gain national recognition on different platforms with innovations in agriculture, digital solutions, and climate-smart technologies. Such achievements show that universities can be powerful engines of sustainable development. This Innovation Week offers a unique opportunity for students and staff to showcase their creativity through exhibitions, pitching competitions, panel discussions, and keynote speeches. I encourage all students to be bold and curious in the innovation space. I also urge faculty to continue mentoring the students, collaborating, and conducting research to address societal needs. We must rise beyond our teaching and research roles to become active contributors to sustainable development through innovations and research commercialization. I wish to sincerely thank our sponsors, the National Research Fund and the ICT Authority for their generous support and partnership, which made this Innovation Week possible. I also encourage all our partners, keynote speakers, judges, and the organizing committee for their dedication and commitment in making this event a success. As we officially open or declare this Innovation Week open, I urge all participants to actively engage, share ideas, and build networks that extend beyond this event. It is now my pleasure to declare the 7th Annual University of Eldoret Innovation Week and public lecture officially open. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my honor and privilege to introduce to you our chief guest for this important event. And our chief guest is Dr. Carol Wangui Unja Biosketch. That's a difficult name for me, but I think I've tried. The last one. So, Madam, you are highly welcome to University of Eldoret. I know this may not be your first time. We really don't take it for granted, given that your schedule is so tight that you manage to slot in our event. Is such a gratitude to you. Dr. Carol Unja is the current Secretary Higher Education in the State Department for Higher Education, Ministry of Education, Kenya. She coordinates forging of bilateral relations with other countries to promote internationalization of higher education institutions and strategic research activities. Further, Dr. Unja carries out routine monitoring and evaluation of the established partnerships to ensure their implementation. She also is involved in the development and implementation of policies which is pertinent for well-established legal frameworks in the execution of the core mandate of the Ministry of Education. Also, Dr. Unja is focused on encouraging the development of grant proposals for resource mobilization to promote the research agenda countrywide. And I think Professor Chodo should be smiling, the Director of Resource Mobilization. You can have a side chat later. Prior to joining the Ministry of Education, Dr. Unja was a senior lecturer at the Southeastern Kenya University, SEKU, and also served as the Director, Research, Innovation, and Commercialization. I think Dr. Mwamburi should be smiling. You can have a side chat with her on how to make sure that this directorate is cutting edge. She has also a wealth of knowledge in research, as demonstrated by the number of grants she has managed, postgraduate students under supervision, papers published in peer-reviewed journals, and also written a book chapter on research management and administration in Kenya. Can we put our hands together for Dr. Carol Wangui Unja Basket? Stand up and welcome. Dr. Karibu-san.
Yes, thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. Please be seated. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Eldoret, members of the university management, distinguished guests, faculty, partners, and students, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I know that at this point I stand between you and lunch, and I'm supposed to be giving a keynote speech, so prepare to have your lunch from about 2 p.m., 3 p.m. up. I hope you had a good breakfast like I did. You know, this is Eldoret. There's lots of food. Yes, Mr. Vice Chancellor, before I give my speech, I would like to first start by sending warm regards from the Principal Secretary, Dr. Beatrice Inyangala, who's my immediate boss. She would have loved to join you today, but so much is happening for some reason. This being the third quarter of the financial year, this is usually our busiest period before we proceed now to the fourth quarter and closing of the year. And so we usually find ways in which we can divide our tasks so that we are as much as possible wherever we are needed. So she's truly, truly proud of the University of Eldoret, and for particularly this Innovation Week. I would also like to thank you for honoring me by being here today to represent the PS and to give the speech. And this speech and this keynote address focuses on how generally we can find strategies to strengthen research, innovation, and commercialization in Kenyan universities. And as you know, this is really, really key. These are areas in which, as universities, they speak to our core mandate. We have consistently stated that as universities, we are not high schools. We don't just teach. And in any case, even when we teach, we must teach new knowledge, because we're living in a fast and dynamic world. Some of the innovations that we saw here are highly dynamic, and they speak to the kind of world we are living in today. And so every day we are challenged, especially in this age of AI, to continuously generate new knowledge that we can then impart to our future generation. And so research, innovation, and commercialization, very, very pertinent in all that we do. It is with great honor and pleasure that I join you today in this 7th Annual Innovation Week on the theme of sustainable innovations for climate change resilience. I would like to thank the university leadership for this invitation and commend you for hosting this event, which brings together students, researchers, partners, industry, and policymakers in this important and timely discourse on climate change. I, as a director of research previously, participated in the hosting of a Research and Innovation Week. I truly commend the university because a lot of work usually goes into hosting this kind of events. When you see their success, by now, SECU, the university I was in, should be hosting its 4th Annual Innovation Week. And you can see University of Eldoret is now hosting its 7th. It means you started understanding the assignment way ahead, way ahead, and that is highly, highly commendable. These are very important events because then you, as the VC said and the DVC, you start nurturing a culture of research and innovation. And eventually, I know very soon we're going to start seeing products that are in our markets developed by innovators in this university. As we all know, climate change is no longer a distant challenge. It is a pressing reality locally and globally, and this calls for innovative, local, and scalable solutions, many of which must emerge from our universities and our research institutions. This brings us to the fact that universities are at the heart of Kenya's innovation ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, innovation cannot be abstract. It's not something that we're thinking about that is something up there in the air. Neither can it be isolated. I was very glad to see how this university has got partners that are coming in to collaborate with and continue innovating together. It must be purposeful, demand-driven, and solution-oriented. Universities occupy a strategic position in Kenya's innovation ecosystem, not only as centers of knowledge creation, but also for the development of a skilled workforce for economic and social transformation. At a time when the country is grappling with the ravages of climate change, youth unemployment, food insecurity, health challenges, then we have no choice as universities but to step up and start thinking of solutions to ensure that we can satisfy and deal with the societal problems. For this to happen, we must ensure that our research is deliberately aligned with the national development priorities, such as the Vision 2030, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, and the climate action agenda, and this is nationally, and then regionally and globally. We must ensure that we can achieve the AU Agenda of 2063 and the Sustainable Development Goals of UN. So basically, what is the policy direction that universities must now adopt so that they can become centers and hubs for innovation? Our vision as a government is to see a coherent and functional research, innovation, commercialization pipeline. And this should happen across all our Kenyan universities, which are growing by the day. Yesterday, I didn't manage to attend Bomet university charter that was being chartered yesterday by the president in State House. I was in another event, but it was very interesting, even as I talk about the ever-growing numbers of our centers of higher learning. It was very interesting, and I realized how important it is to have an education. When I was looking at that event, Professor Kuria, who is the CEO of the Commission for University Education, was actually instructing the president on what to do. Can you imagine? Because he is the CEO of the Commission for University Education, that was his event. He's in charge of ensuring that universities are well established and ensure that they have the quality that is required. But the president was standing there, and Professor Kuria was telling him, now receive the mace and pass it on to the vice chancellor. And the president was doing what Professor Kuria was saying, importance of education. Ukisoma, hata president atakusikiza. And I thought it was very, very interesting. But I digress. My point is that universities are now growing by the numbers, with the newest one being Bomet University, has now become a fully chartered university. And so it means that we have a wider base for collaboration to ensure that we can innovate and constantly and consistently develop solutions to the ever-growing number of problems that we are facing every day in this dynamic world. So we must ensure that we strengthen linkages between policy, research funding, industry needs, and real-world challenges. For decades, universities have been traditional centers of teaching and research. But now comes a new thing that the VC mentioned, commercialization and societal impact. It is no longer about writing a publication and submitting it for peer review by your by your peers. No. It is about ensuring that we develop tangible products. How can our research translate into tangible products, services, policies, and solutions that can improve lives, create jobs, and drive development? The State Department for Higher Education continues to play a central role in higher education reforms, research governance, and innovation systems to create a connected national ecosystem. And I would like to mention that we also now are no longer the State Department for Higher Education and Research. There is now a new State Department for Science, Research, and Innovation that is headed by the Principal Secretary, Professor Shaukat. And that State Department, universities need to also partner closely with the State Department, because it is primarily, it was created to ensure that we partner in terms of research activities. And I was glad to hear the VC mentioning that you've been working very closely with the Kenya National Innovation Agency in capacity development on research and commercialization, and you constitute the third cohort for that capacity development program. We managed at SECU to apply and show an expression of interest, and we managed to be part of the second cohort. And this program ensures university to university peer monitoring and evaluation and growth. And so it is a tremendous and amazing program that ensures university can grow their research, innovation, and commercialization culture. So universities need to embed skills, competencies, and entrepreneurship in education. Indeed, you know, we have rolled out as a government the competency-based education and training. At higher education levels, that is at TVET, and in universities, we call it CBET. We include training at the end. And of course, we also have a program known as recognition of prior learning. I kindly encourage you to go and read about that. I don't want to talk about it today. It is highly, highly important. And these reforms are designed to ensure that graduates leave our institutions not just with academic qualifications, but with practical skills, innovative mindsets, and entrepreneurial capabilities. We must churn out graduates who are not just job seekers, but they are problem solvers, they are innovators, and they are creators of enterprises. Innovation and entrepreneurship skills must therefore be inculcated across all disciplines, not optional activities. People laugh when I say we no longer call it STEM, we call it STEAM. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Arts and humanities must be part of that. In any case, to whom is STEM working for? It is working for humanity. How can you have humanity without the arts and humanities being part of that growth? And so people laugh when I tell them we stopped calling it STEM. It is STEAM, because across all sectors, everybody must participate in this innovative culture. We must have the hand of the human in it, because you are creating all these innovations for the sake of humanity, for the sake of societies. And so this is no longer an optional activity. Today, I tried to look for people in the arts and humanities in the innovations that I was seeing. Well, people say School of Business. I saw something on hospitality, beautiful. And they had some very beautiful innovations there. Yes, those are the kind of things we're looking for. Ideas even from the humanities and the arts. I must commend the University of Eldoret for the institutionalization of innovation through sustained activities such as this Innovation Week, to nurture the spirit of innovation among our staff and students. In actual fact, the biggest issue lies with the staff. I was a director of research. I know what Professor Mwamburi is going through to convince staff to continue participating. And you know, without active staff participation, it is very difficult for students to be nurtured. And so I encourage staff to continue. This staff, you need to understand that these students have been placed in our hands so that we now direct them into different career paths. We are supposed, it is our obligation to ensure that we train our students as effectively as possible, so that when they go through our hands, by the time they are going out to the world, they are well equipped in each and every way. And so we have a responsibility to make sure that these students have all the research, entrepreneurial exposure, innovative exposure that is required for them to go and even create jobs for themselves. And so staff, you have academic staff to be particular, you have a huge, huge task ahead of you. We are looking at you as academic staff to make sure that you fulfill this dream of ensuring innovation and commercialization is achieved in this university and in all our other universities. Having the 7th Innovation Week demonstrates the university's continued commitment to embedding innovation in its academic culture, which aligns very well with the national education reforms. This brings us to how our research can have impact in society by strengthening the pathways of commercialization. I repeat, this is not a unique problem in the University of Eldoret. This is a problem across Kenya. How do we convert our innovations into products that can be commercialized? And indeed, with constant collaboration, working together, finding solutions, partnering with industry, then you can slowly, it's a slow process. It's a slow process, but eventually we will get there. The beauty is we've started recognizing that the only way we can have tremendous impact in our universities is if we develop products that can be usable in our societies. One of the persistent challenges we face as a country is the gap between academic research and market-ready solutions. It is a Kenyan problem, but we are part of the solution. Kenya produces significant research output, major, but most of it does not translate into products, services, enterprises that are able to reach the market and that we can use. I went to the University of East Africa, Baraton. I'm glad that it is represented here. And those many years ago, I studied very many years ago. Some of the students in this room might not have been born. We used to have a bread. There is a bread that is produced in Baraton. Inaitwa bara bread. Let me tell you, to date, I still remember the taste of that bread. I have never eaten any other bread in my life that tasted like bara bread. They have that product that they've had for years, and anybody who has been to Baraton and eaten that bread confesses the same, isn't it? Bara bread. Let me tell you, ukionja hiyo hakuna mkate ingine hii dunia hata uende upande juu. Me, I don't know how they cook it. Utanunua even when you go to the richest bakeries in Nairobi za wazungu. Hawawezi pika mkate hivyo. They have that ingredient. They have that combination. That is an innovation. I have waited for years. It has been over 20 years, by the way, since I was in Baraton. I've waited to see that bread in the supermarket. Bara bread, Baraton, challenge kwenu, tafadhali. Produce enough bread so we can access it in the supermarket. It is very unique. And those are the kind of things we're talking about. Can you imagine so many years later I can talk about such a simple thing? That is an innovation in and of itself. It is an innovation. Innovation does not need to be something very huge. It just needs to be a product that is very unique, that fits into the market niche and people love. It does not even need to be, it can be something very, very simple, as long as it is novel, it is creative, and people love it. People want to use it. And so these are some of the things we're talking about. How can these products reach the market? It is therefore essential for universities to strengthen or establish technology transfer offices. Personally, I feel by the time you establish a TTO, you must have embedded a very important research culture. I encourage universities not to rush too much into establishing a TTO until they have that culture and they have technology to transfer. Isn't it, VC? You know that if you establish that office, it must have staff. That means it will be using up, salaries and various other resources, yet not much is being produced of it. And so be very careful I say that, I always advise universities. There are universities that have established TTOs and they are working. But that is because they already had that technology as part of their culture. And so by the time you're establishing a TTO, make sure you have a very, very fertile ground for innovation and commercialization. but indeed, eventually, every university must have a TTO. Or find a way for universities maybe to partner and have one TTO that serves several universities and ensures that it supports the transfer and the commercialization of innovative products. Today, I am impressed by the many innovations that I saw at the tents, and I asked very many questions, which you noticed. For some reason, just by chance, the VC, and I happened to attend this event, I'm a scientist, and so you could see I understood most of the things that were going on there just by chance, but there are still a lot that you need to do. By the time that product that you have envisaged and that you are showcasing, by the time you can really convince, remember the marketability of a product depends on how much you can convince the end user that indeed you need this product, it is efficient, it is easily or readily available, and it can solve a problem that you've been facing every day. And so it is very important that you continue working. I highly commend the job that has been done so far. Congratulations, VC. That's a really, really amazing job. Congratulations, Director Research, and your team. Keep working. There's still a lot that you can do, but so far you're doing amazingly well. Highly impressive. And so I challenge the University of Eldoret to support some of these innovations into pilots, and from pilots, we call them spin-offs, to scalable enterprises, especially in areas such as climate-smart agriculture, renewable energy, health technologies, digital solutions, which are all key to ensure Kenya can achieve economic transformation and sustainable development priorities. Funding becomes a key issue. Funding incentivization. How do you provide incentives to staff and students so that they are motivated into continuing into research work, and also ensuring we have enabling systems and structures in place? Already, I always say universities are well placed in so many ways because they have the staff, people who hold PhDs and have studied far and wide and have the capacity to nurture and mentor and even participate in innovative and research and innovative solutions. That is already very, very fertile ground for the research and innovation. But then there needs to be some cash injection. Universities, again, as researchers, staff, academic staff can also participate in collaborative opportunities, partner with industries. There is a lot that universities can do, but indeed, universities remain highly, highly key as enabling. They are already highly enabled. They already have a lot of capacity to ensure that this is a success. Innovation requires deliberate investment. The government, in close collaboration with the private sector and development partners, continues to explore public and private financing mechanisms to support research, innovation, and commercialization. Equally important is the creation of incentives that encourage applied research, industry, collaboration, and entrepreneurship by students and faculty. For example, all the people participating in this R&I week, are they getting a certificate? Very good. That's an incentive. Any student, any academic staff who shows that particular certificate, then that catapults their career. and that is very important, and various other forms of incentives that can be developed. Be creative. Professor Mwarumburi, you have to be as creative as possible in identifying incentives that the university can use to make sure that staff and students are motivated to continue in this culture. The government also has a role in de-risking early stage innovation, particularly where solutions address national priorities and pressing challenges such as climate resilience. And in comes the issue of protection of intellectual property. If there's something that needs to be strengthened in our universities, is how can our creators generate revenue because their innovations are protected such that they are the only ones benefiting of the revenues of their innovations. Very, very important. And only the government can assure that such structures are in place. As you continue working closely with the Kenya National Innovation Agency, then you can be protected from these kind of shocks. Partnerships remain very important for sustainability in the field of innovation. No single institution can innovate alone. And we have already seen evidence of how the University of Eldoret has got various partners to ensure that they have a sustainable culture for innovating. Sustainable innovation depends on strong university, industry, government, community partnerships, and this is often referred to as the quadruple helix. And these partnerships are critical in addressing the complex and dynamic challenges that we face in this world. And of course, we encourage you to consistently pursue regional and international collaboration to leverage global knowledge while developing local solutions. At the State Department for Higher Education, we have constantly, whenever we sign an MOU, we usually engage with our partners and they give us a contact person, a focal person. And more often than not, we have written to our universities informing them of the newly formed partnership and informing them of the contact person so that you can reach out to that focal point and start engaging and enhancing collaborations at a regional and at an international level. Inclusivity, equity, and regional development. Again, innovation must be inclusive. We must deliberately expand access to innovation opportunities for women, youth, and marginalized communities to ensure that no one is left behind. The current government, you know, endeavors to ensure that no one is left behind. Not just no child is left behind, no one is left behind. Public universities in particular play a critical role in regional development, anchoring innovations in local contexts and responding to the specific needs of surrounding communities. Innovation, when done right, becomes a powerful tool for social inclusion and equitable growth. Now, as we're coming to the end, ama niendelee kuongea? We have a call to action, a way forward. I'm seeing a few people dozing. Watu wako na njaa, niwaambie huku kuna chakula bwana. Me, I had a good breakfast. Sina njaa, I can stand here forever. Anyway, on a light note, as I conclude, we have a call to action of a few things universities should deliberately do. Number one, universities must ensure that they create a suitable environment by strengthening internal systems and cultures that support innovation. ensuring that we have very good functions, very good systems, very good structures that can ensure the nurturing of an innovation culture, a commercialization culture. Number 2, incentivization. Recognize and reward innovation. Recognition. In actual fact, this year I'm not sure, but I know in some universities, when you go for us staff, academic staff, today I'm on your case. Matters research, academic staff, you cannot run away. In some institutions, when we go for promotions, when we're being interviewed for promotions, I don't know if that is the culture here. It's okay, it's okay. Don't know about the culture here, but I know you are asked, have you been recognized? Isn't it? It is usually, and it carries very many marks. So now, because you know many of us are rarely recognized, what you do is you make sure for promotion, you make sure that you nurture all other areas. Alafu unasema, hiyo nitapoteza marks. Hapana. Hapana. Now we are going to become very serious about recognition and reward for innovation and commercialization efforts. It should carry very many points and very many marks, so that when staff and students engage in these activities, then they can be incentivized, motivated, and that culture will continue growing until it will become a part of us. And this issue of talking about innovation and commercialization over and over and over again, it will become just a part of us. Just like the way we like publishing in all sorts of journals, predatory, normal, peer-reviewed, all sorts of journals. We will start innovating and commercializing. Then we need to collaborate beyond institutional and disciplinary boundaries. One of the biggest issues, again, when I talk of STEAM, humanities and arts constantly say, you know us, we never have funding. You know, there are no grants that call for arts and humanities projects. I ask, okay, when I develop a grant in the sciences, to whom am I developing solutions for? Humanity. You mean you in the arts and humanities, you cannot in any way contribute to the idea that I have developed, so that we collaborate and develop a grant together. Because me as a scientist, I know how to do the prototyping and developing of the innovation. You as the humanities, you know how to get it to the communities so that it can be adopted, surely. Collaboration, interdisciplinary. We cannot continue working in silos. We cannot continue saying, you know, people in engineering, they are the ones with the innovation. Who are they developing those innovations for? For you and me. And you and me can only be understood by someone in the arts and humanities. I'm telling you. The only people who understand human behavior, human perceptions, human proclivities, what will a human want, what doesn't a human want, it is only the arts and humanities. Otherwise, the researchers in the STEM will continue innovating and innovating forever, and their innovations will remain on the shelves because of the disconnect. And so I highly encourage interdisciplinary collaboration for this to work successfully. As a government, we commit to continue providing policy leadership, enabling university funding. Before Professor Shaukat was installed in the State Department for RSI, we had a conversation with him, and we told him kindly, if there's one thing you could do for researchers in our academic institutions, is enhancing the funding for research by the government fulfilling their commitment to provide 2% of GDP towards research funding. It has never reached 2%. The highest we've ever had is 0.7%. And we constantly, and I've had the president indicate that he is doing everything possible to ensure that sufficient resources, 2% of the GDP of Kenya, will be directed toward research activities. And I know that will take us a long way as far as research, innovation, and commercialization is concerned. And as a government, finally, we also commit to support the innovation ecosystem in the higher education sector. And so, I just want to reiterate, students, faculty, researchers, industry partners, and policymakers gathered here today, kindly continue co-creating, continue working together to ensure that Kenya's innovation future is secure. And so, I just want to conclude by saying that innovation is not an event that you meet here for 1 week and then we go and sleep and wait next year for the 8th Annual Innovation Week. We must continue innovating, researching day by day, and promoting that culture in our higher institutions. It is a mindset. Innovation is a mindset, is a system, and is a shared responsibility for all of us. And this again is to continue indicating that the government will continually support these endeavors. And with that, I wish to thank you all for being very pensive and listening to me, and to wish you, I tried, didn't see anybody dozing, so I think it was not very bad. I thank you, and I wish you a fruitful and successful 7th Innovation Week. Please, let's stand up and clap.
Thank you so much, Chief Guest. Colleagues, that is not enough for the Chief Guest. We give her 5 binomial applause. You give 5, 4, 3. Yes, 5 factorial. So let us start. Can we practice? 5, 4, 3, 2. So now we know what to do. Can we now give her the 5 factorial applause? 1, let us go. Thank you so much. It has been inspiring, informative, and again, as we started the week, we were guided on provocation towards innovation and commercialization. We have been provoked. Thank you so much. To complete the lecture, we would like to allow 3 questions. You just ask straightforward questions. 3. The chief guest, so that she will respond. There is a hand. Okay.
This question goes to the PS. How will you implement AI and agentic thinking in monitoring and evaluation of the innovation progress?
Okay, thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you very much, our chief guest. Innovation is a very important aspect of university life and academic activities. And we know that universities have several research products through the thesis that are not moving forward. But I think, like you mentioned, there is one area that I think the universities might not be able to handle adequately. That is the funding part. Innovations require funding so that we can move them forward from the products, so that they can be incubated, so that they can be mentored, so that they can move to the area where they are ready for investments and commercialization. You talked briefly and seemed to indicate that the ministry has some funds. But I also know that the government, through the various ministries, like the Ministry of Cooperatives, MSMEs, etc., the department where Ms. Mangeni is, she talks about funds. The youth ministry has a lot of funds to the youth. Is it possible for the ministry to maybe motivate the government so that the universities can be availed some of these funds, so that we have some funds in the university that can support innovations, research, innovation to commercialization? Thank you.
Thank you. Last one from a lady.
I just wanted to add something on what he's saying, that we universities which has attempted TVET, we were told that you cannot receive funding from 2 state departments. And now we have innovation and research within the university, and we have the academic teaching. I'd wish the secretary to inform us whether it's possible to get funding from the State Department of Research, Science and Innovation, and also receive funding from the other state department that is responsible for teaching. Thank you.
Thank you. So if there was a hand from a lady and the other, that is the third one. I'm assuming that one reinforced the second question. Thank you. There was a hand there from, yes, oh, it's not a lady. Okay, fine, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. Please allow me to ask this question, and I will ask Dr. our chief guest. Through your speech, I have heard you touch about recognition for prior learning program, right? In fact, I've been following the program in the past few months, and in fact, I enrolled. So, last week, they texted me I was to go in a certain office for screening, and on the same day, the timetable was colliding with my exam timetable. So I looked for the officials, and I asked them what I can do. So he told me that I am in university. Those are very small things. I should concentrate on university. So my question is this one. Is it really a small things for university students? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me start with the question on the use of AI in the monitoring and evaluation of innovation process. Now, number one, you need to understand that AI is a tool. One thing everybody must understand, before, during our heydays, we used to have libraries. All the knowledge and information that we possessed was contained in a library as a database. Today, what we have as a database is the AI in the digital world. And so, in the same way, you can leverage on the existing technologies. Before, we used to go to the library and sit there for day and night writing our thesis. Today, at the click of a button, databases that are connected in the internet can provide you with information within seconds. Information that we used to get after 2 years sitting down doing a thesis. Now you can do it very fast because most of the information has now been transferred into the digital world and the digital space. To answer your question, specifically how AI can be used, a team from the State Department for Research, Science and Innovation, then they used to be under research, went to Egypt. Egypt has got an amazing database, centralized repository for all their research output. It is amazing. In actual fact, because of that, most of the publications, if you go through the internet, Google and all the other search engines, you will find a lot of output from Egypt. And do you know why? Because they developed a centralized repository for all their information in terms of innovation processes, in terms of products that they had produced. And so you have a centralized place in which everybody in Kenya, in a university, can go in and know. University of Eldoret have developed a product which can chase away birds. By the way, that's my best product. Chase away birds. Then you can partner with a university in Kitui. We have a big problem of birds because we grow sorghum. I was telling VC. You come together, harness your resources and upgrade that product. Then we no longer work as silos. And AI will have solved our problem. Is that making sense? So leverage on the technology. It is a tool. Use it adequately. It just makes our work easy. And that is the point of a tool. A tool is supposed to make your work easy. Kitambo, we used to dig with stones. Then we started developing tools. We knew how to sharpen the stones. Then eventually iron came in and we started developing machinery which made our work easy. Think of AI in those same terms. Number 2, question on funding. I want to make it very clear that the State Department, the ministry does not fund research. I will explain what happens. Kenya, through the State Department for Research, Innovation, and Technology, has got agencies that are tasked with ensuring that research agenda is achieved. One agency is the National Commission for Science, Technology, and Innovation, NACOSTI. That agency is involved in regulating research and ensuring that policy is achieved and is implemented as far as the research agenda is concerned. Professor Mwamburi, in the Director Research, consistently submits data to NACOSTI because they carry out a lot of monitoring and evaluation of the research activities that are going on in Kenya. And day by day, they are growing up a database. One of the databases they have grown, and I know you have engaged that, is to identify equipment that is in our universities. You submit that data such that a university that does not have a particular equipment can come and partner with you, and you work together so that each university does not have to buy the same equipment. It does not make sense because some of this equipment is not even usually used so much. That is NACOSTI. Number 2, it established the Kenya National Innovation Agency. Actually, there is an act that established those agencies. They are called semi-autonomous agencies. They were developed, they are sagas. They were developed. The second one developed by an act is the Kenya National Innovation Agency that is involved in all matters innovation. We're talking IP, we're talking growing universities, supporting universities in terms of research, innovation, and commercialization. The third agency that was established is called the National Research Fund, NRF. The National Research Fund, when we say the government of Kenya is committing 2% of its GDP towards research, all the monies that have been dedicated toward the research agenda in Kenya are directed to the National Research Fund. The National Research Fund then makes calls for applications. For example, I know now there's a call for application for postgraduate students, isn't it? Isn't it? People who know NRF know that is going on. This is the money we're talking about. The state departments do not fund research. There is already agency, and they make calls and you apply. I am a recipient. I think I've received 3 grants for research from the NRF. They are there. Sometimes they don't even get enough applicants from the NRF. So in terms of research funding, there is sufficient funds that can support from innovation to commercialization. And it is up to you as universities to continue agitating and indicating that the funds that you provided enabled us to reach up to this level. Kindly continue funding us so that we can complete this research to a certain extent. Unless you push and you are aware of the existence of these agencies and the work that they do, then you cannot move. So kindly be well advised. Initially, they used to be under the State Department for Higher Education and Research, but now they were moved to the State Department for Research, Innovation, and Technology. And so be aware of NRF. Check all the Kenya, NRF, and NACOSTI. Check their websites, read about them. Then you can know how the research environment is enabled in the country. Number 3, talked about recognition of prior learning. I would like to support the person who talked to you about recognition of prior learning. Number 1, recognition of prior learning is mostly under lifelong learning principle. Now, you're still in the university, you're still trying to get a degree. In the event that you get your degree, then you go and gain work experience on a particular area. And then 20 years or maybe 15 years from now, you will have gained experience. For example, if you are a student in the humanities and the arts, and then you go and establish a company, and in that company, after you're done with your degree, you are supporting research and commercialization activities. 10, 15 years from now, it means you have ample entrepreneurial skills. Those ample entrepreneurial skills are demonstrated by the existence of your company, by the profits that the company is gaining, by the impact of your company. Then you go to agencies that are involved with RPL and you say, you know, I don't have time to study for a whole degree on business entrepreneurship or management, but I have these skills that I have gained. Then they advise you. Now we know that from your expertise, you have a certain level of prior learning. You only need 10 more units to enable you to become a fully fledged degree holder in a is it a BSc in entrepreneurship or a BSc in entrepreneurship? Then you get the degree. You do not need to go for the 4 years to get the full degree. What it is doing, it is recognizing prior learning, expertise, knowledge. Then you do not have to go through the whole year to earn a degree. Am I clear? Am I clear? It is a part of the lifelong learning program and mandate that is under the State Department for Higher Education. All right? Are you satisfied? Huh? Maswali nimemaliza. You don't sound very satisfied. What have I not answered well?
Let us clap for the chief guest. Thank you so much. We have a brief session to acknowledge our chief guest And I would like the DVC, and then I think you will invite the VC to do that.
Do you have ladies who are strong enough to move these things? Strong ladies? Okay, strong men. As they are doing that, we are happy and we really recognize all of us who have been in this field. Allow me just come as I'm waiting for them to move. My daughter here. These are some of our innovators who have come from here. Please just say your name and your innovation.
Thank you so much, Prof. We call him Dad in the Christian Union. Good afternoon. I know there are those I had met already, but my name is Esther Wanjiro Kimani. I am an alumnus. And then in plural, that is when we say alumni. Okay? I'm an alumnus of this university. I graduated in 2019, bachelor's degree in computer science, under the able hands of Dr. Betty back then. And I ran a company as the CEO called Pharma Lifeline Technologies. And Pharma Lifeline, we are using AI-enabled cameras to detect pests and diseases for smallholder farmers and notify them in their local language of what to apply on the farms. So I have employed 11 youth and 150 on the ground.
How much are you worth, my daughter?
Oh my goodness. Oh, my company has really grown. I can just mention one that really put even the university out there was an award from the Royal Academy of Engineering, where they invested £50,000 into the business.
Thank you very much. Can you clap for her? Yes. So a lot is going on, and the university is doing a lot. Even last year, I think we were in the media. One of our former students, Pardon? It was? Is he here? Or where is he? Just come. If he's there, just come. Please allow me to interfere with the program, because we need to recognize. Yes, my son. Just tell us briefly of what you are doing and what you are worth right now.
Worth is relative. But I run a startup that is doing tech-related stuff for the environment. We do early warning systems. Our pilot product is called MC2. It's for early warning systems for forest fires, logging, charcoal burning, and such stuff. And we're moving to smart cities for air quality monitoring, noise pollution controls, and such. Yeah.
How big is your market?
Yeah, we have jokes for Central African Republic and South Sudan. For South Sudan, it's an issue to do with flooding, and for Central African Republic, it's forest related. Yeah. A couple of millions.
Just say. We want to know if it's more than what the VC has.
He's probably worth more because we belong to him. Yeah.
So a couple of millions.
Yeah, it's a couple of millions because last year we got some grants. We got from KCDF. That is the one you were talking about. But we also got another one from African Union. Yeah. Yeah. In Addis.
If somebody cannot mention, it means that money is too big. Okay. Yeah, that money is so big. There's a time that he was easily talking about it because it was not very big. But nowadays, he's not telling us exactly. Now, do you have any of our alumni who is having an innovation? Any also is here? Please just come. Just come and tell us the innovation and what it's all about. And of course, you answer the last question, which he was not able to answer.
Good afternoon. Well, I came around to make a presentation because we have an innovation. we want to develop an RUTF. RUTF is ready-to-eat therapeutic feed from locally available materials based on the recommendations by WHO and UNICEF for treating malnutrition, and we want to do a clinical trial in Turkana. We don't have money. We are looking for money.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Yeah, my name is Alan Ligare. I am actually a current student, not an alumni. And we're currently running a company called Mzuri Organics. Mzuri Organics works in the intersection of waste management, food security, and soil health, purposefully for us to achieve food security and food safety, two very critical issues of this country. And so far, we are working very closely with AIM Hub and also Dr. Becky's department in terms of issues to do with patenting and commercialization, which is basically what entrepreneurship is all about. A good idea without a market is an idea, basically. Eh? Yeah, so we are glad with the support that we've received so far here. Well, to start, actually, it is the government that gave us our very initial capital under a program called Mbele na Biz and KOP. That was back in 2021. They gave us 3.6 million. Since then, we've received more than 20 other millions in support for the enterprise. Yeah. And this year, we are also receiving more than 15 million from the European Union just to do research. So we are growing very, very fast, and it's because we are doing things that matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, can you clap? Did you hear that statement, that 20 other millions? Eh? And now all those you lecturers, you always come and stand there at the tank and say, solidarity forever. The solidarity is in the innovations. Is that okay? Arguings, you're looking at me, you are so mesmerized because you have a bigger degree and a bigger... So anyway, what we are saying is that, colleagues, it's real. It is real, and we would like us to move. Because these people, for us, to have 1 million as a lecturer, you must take a loan, isn't it? Yeah, but you can get it from what we are doing. Let us just try to embrace that. Do you have any final one? Any last person? Any other person with an innovation? Dr. Ria, do you have an innovation? I want one of the lecturers and you tell us how much money you get. We are not going to ask you for 10%. I can see one person there. As a viewer, wait for Dr. Ria. He'll tell us how much money you get and how much you have given us.
My name is Shikuku. My innovation is the Innovation Week website. I digitized the registration system. Yeah, I'm worth a couple of hundreds shillings.
And how long has it taken? 2 months. Now, those hundreds is only 2 months old. All right? So don't think that there is nothing there. He has just started. Can you please clap for him? Thank you very much. Yeah. I think with those many few remarks, I don't know if Professor Chudo, I can see you are complaining. I know that. Prof, that one belongs to your wife. That is not yours. The one I know belongs to your wife. Okay, Prof, just come and tell us that one. But I know it is your wife.
Thank you, everyone. During COVID in 2020, I was idle me and my wife. We had just lost our son, so we were relaxing at home. And we decided that instead of just sitting, let's go and be incubated in Kisumu. And we went and we had an idea. We decided that because in Kisumu it is always very hot and people take sodas, we decided that we should develop a drink that people can take. And we went in for sugarcane juice, blended with ginger and lemon and turmeric and several others. And today we have a business that is doing well. So when you see me with a suit like this, it is not because I'm a professor, but because I have an industry that is doing very well. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope the photographer you took, I hope this thing is being live, eh? Because I would like to play that one live when next to the wife, because but all I can say is that it is real. I have ordered that. It is a very nice juice, and yeah, it is nice. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we'd like to stop there, and we just want to appreciate our secretary in our ministry who have come and given us a very motivating talk. And please, she's still around. Anything that you want to know, whether you're a student or a lecturer, please, she's very open so that she can be able to know more about our ministry concerning the issues also that you have talked about. So we'd like to request the Vice Chancellor to come and our guest, chief guest, to come and present this. And Vice Chancellor, you know, I always say one hand is holding, one hand is greeting. So your left hand is holding, her left, yes. Yeah, so can you please take that? Can you please clap for them and thank God? Thank you so much. And we know the government policy, it is not worth anything close to what should be declared. So, thank you very much. Thank you. So, Director, please.
Thank you very much. I'll hand over the program to the MC.
Asante sana, asante sana. Tumekuwa na sehemu nzuri zaidi. Asante sana mgeni wetu wa heshima siku ya leo. Na kwa sababu nilikuwa nazungumza Kiswahili, naomba tumpigie makofi kwa lugha ya Kiswahili. Na makofi ambayo tutayapiga ni makofi mfululizo ya kupanda juu. Kwa hivyo tutaanza 1 hadi wiki yetu ya 7. Ninahisi hivyo kama mwana lugha wa Kiswahili. Haya, tutaanza 1 alafu tupande mbili. Hivyo tumesema kwa factory, sio? Haya, kwa hivyo mfululizo tukisonga mbele. Haya, 1. Asante sana kwamba tumefika wiki ya 7 ya ubunifu. Kwa hivyo tunashukuru sana, umegonga ndipo. Yaani wewe umeweza kwa kweli, kwa sababu una umaarufu wa ubunifu na una tajriba nzuri kuhusiana na ubunifu. Na kama chuo kikuu cha Eldoret tunashukuru kwamba tumekujua na tumekutambua, na vile profesa ameambiwa na Profesa Lizi kwamba wakukaribie, kwa sababu kwa Kiswahili tunasema mgaga na upwa hali wali mkavu. Kwa hivyo tukaribia, najua kwamba chuo chetu kikuu kitapaa juu zaidi. Kwa hivyo asanteni sana, na wakati huu ningependa tuwe na nafasi ya kupiga picha ya pamoja kule nje. Kwa hivyo sote tutatoka kule nje, tutapiga picha ya pamoja. Kisha baadaye tutakuwa na mapumziko ya kitafuno na tutaenda kule kwenye NS4. NS4 mapumziko kama dakika 20. lakini mgeni wetu wa heshima, makamu chancellor na bodi ya usimamizi wa chuo na wageni wengine waalikwa, maprofesa wetu atasalia hapa kwenye NS3. Kwa hivyo sote tutoke nje, tutakuwa na nafasi nzuri ya kupiga picha. Alafu baadaye wageni watarudi hapa, wengine wote tutaenda NS4 kwa ajili ya mankuli ya mchana ama mapumziko tu ya kitafuno. Haya, tufanye hima. Asanteni sana kwa kuhudhuria. Kisha baadaye tutarudi. Sasa baada ya kitafuno tunarudi tena hapa ili tukaweze kuwa na paneli ya majadiliano. Kwa hivyo tunatoka tu dakika 20. Wanafunzi wetu, wageni wetu na wale wabunifu wamekuwa hapa. Dakika tu 20, kisha tuje sasa tupate uhondo wetu wa mwisho nzuri sana katika nafasi hiyo ya majadiliano ya paneli. Haya, tunapita kwenye mlango huu. Tupite kwenye mlango huu kwenye mkono wangu wa kushoto.
Praise the Lord in the sanctuary.
asili ya ponya, tiba asili pia imeimarishwa kupitia mifumo ya kisasa. Naomba niseme cha msingi, umoja wetu ndo nguvu. Wageni na waongozi wa dama, shukrani kwa kunipa muda huu. Sitaki kusema sana nikasidisha kalima, sitaki kuwa mbinafsi, shukrani kwa nyima. Shukrani nyote nyie mlonipa sikio lenu karma. Naomba niseme cha msingi, umoja wetu ndiye nguvu. Shukran. Naitwa Mbanyo Kisachi.
Tumpigie makofi jamani. Asante sana mbunifu wa tiba za asili, vile vile anaienzi lugha ya Kiswahili. Na labda niseme tu kwa sekunde chache kwamba Kiswahili muhimu hata katika ubunifu, kwa sababu tunatangamana na wanajamii kule nje. Kwa hivyo ukitangamana na wanajamii na wakuulize kauli mbiu ya warsha mmetoka ilikuwa gani, lazima angalau uzungumze lugha ya Kiswahili vile vile. Kwa hivyo katika ubunifu, lugha ya Kiswahili tunaienzi, lugha ya Kiswahili, lugha ashirafu, lugha akrama. Kwa hivyo tunazungumza na wale, ukiambiwa AI ni nini kwa lugha ya Kiswahili, sasa unajaribu kumueleza yule nyanya wa miaka 80, utazungumzaje kwa lugha ya Kiswahili? Sasa lazima ujue kama ni akili bandia ama akili unde, sasa lazima uzungumze Kiswahili. Kwa hivyo nashukuru sana kamati ya ubunifu kwa kutualika sisi tunaoienzi lugha ya Kiswahili tuweze kueleza machache. Kwa hivyo kwa muda huu, kwa sababu hatuna muda, tunaomba tuanze sehemu yetu ya mwisho, sehemu ya majadiliano ya wanajopo katika paneli, na tunasema asante sana mgeni wetu wa heshima pamoja na makamu chancellor wetu na bodi ya usimamizi wa chuo, maprofesa wa chuo na wageni wote waalikwa. Sasa kwenye majadiliano ya paneli watakao tuelekeza ama wadhibiti wa sehemu hii ni Daktari Jafred Muyaka pamoja na Daktari Grace Mureithi. Na wale ambao watakaoshiriki katika paneli hii, wa kwanza ni Profesa Miriam Kinywa, sijui kama yuko hapa, kutoka chuo kikuu cha Eldoret. Kisha tuna Mr. Alan Ligare ambaye ni mwanzilishi na mkurugenzi mtendaji Mzuri Organics, Mr. David Jesse ambaye ni mkurugenzi vile vile katika Green Drive, na mwisho Mr. Philip Gondi ambaye anasimamia masuala hayo ya uchumi na maendeleo katika jamii. Wale ambao watatupatia ama wataripoti sehemu hii ni Josam Musambayi na Samson Ondieki. Kwa hivyo karibuni sana, naomba tuwapigie makofi waratibu wetu, waelekezi wetu, Daktari Jafred Muyaka na Daktari Grace Mureithi.
Well, Kiswahili kitukuzwe. That's the most I'm doing for today. I want to request that those at the back, please let's fill the seats at the front. Let's come to the front so that those who will join us later will join us from the back. Kindly, let's join the seats at the front. My sister and my daughter, please fill the seats at the front. Our chief guest, Dr. Caroline Hunja, our Vice Chancellor, the University Management Board, our directors, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Okay, thank you very much. So we are at the third point of, or the third session of this 7th Innovation Week. Just to remind us, our theme for this year's Innovation Week is Sustainable Innovations for Climate Change Resilience. We have among us people who have already been doing a lot within this sector, and we have a very powerful set of panelists. I'm going to invite them so that they can tell us more about their work and more about what we can do going forward on sustainable innovations. I think we've seen a lot of innovations today, but I want to hear from them because they're talking from their own lived experiences. So allow me at this point, our chief guest, to invite our panelists for this afternoon. Let me begin with Alan Ligare. Alan, karibu sana. Kindly have a seat. Alan is the founder and CEO of Mzuri Organics. He's going to tell us more about himself and about his work. Thank you very much. David Jesse, karibu sana. David is a CEO and director of Green Drive East Africa Limited and also the Nairobi City Network. Thank you very much. Philip Gondi, karibu sana. He's been with us for the last 3 days, actually. Philip is a Senior Innovation Officer, Startup, Economy Development and Management at Kenya. Kenya is Kenya National Innovation Agency. Philip, we really want to hear from you. And thank you because you've already been working with us on our entrepreneurship master plan. Did I get it right? Okay, yeah, thank you very much. And one of our own, Esther Kimani. Esther was already here. She introduced herself. She's an alumnus of University of Eldoret. We're proud of you. And she's a Chief Executive Officer, Farm Lifeline Technologies. Karibu sana. Allow me also to state that Professor Kinyo is one of our professors in the Department of Biotechnology, was supposed to be with us, but she had to rush to Nairobi for a stakeholders meeting, and she asked me to send her regards. So clap for her in her absence. So thank you very much. We're going to have a very powerful panel discussion. I was already introduced by the MC, but my name is Dr. Grace Moredi from the School of Arts and Social Sciences. I now invite my brother to introduce himself.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Moyaka Mwira from Department of Education Foundation, School of Education. Now, to start us off, we would just like to have a brief introduction of our panelists, so they will tell us what they are doing.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alan Ligare, once again. I am the CEO and founder of Mzuri Organics, which is a company based in Kakamega County, and now also in Siaya, Vihiga, Kisumu, and counties. This year, hoping to go all the way to Uasin Gishu, somewhere in Ainabkoi as well. And like I said earlier, we are working in the intersection of waste management, particularly organic waste, climate change, and soil health, with the intention of achieving food security and food safety. Basically what we do, we bioconvert organic waste, and using that, which we have been converted, the compost, we nurture microbes to revive or regenerate our soils. Thank you.
All right. Madam Secretary, it's a pleasure to, and Bonavisi, it's a pleasure to be able to introduce myself in your presence. My name is David Jesse. I'm the director of Green Drive East Africa. Green Drive East Africa is a company that tries to work across the entire renewable energy sector in terms of mobilizing stakeholders and industries to be able to streamline our development patterns to green products and services. I'm also here, I think, like two hats, because I belong to an organization that also has a running MOU with the University of Eldoret, and that is the Kenya Biogas Stakeholders Network, where I'm also the senior advisor. Pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And just recognize the university administration, Wanavisi, as the DVC, Professor Abud have mentioned. We've been here for the past 3 days under the guidance of Dr. Alo. Thank you, Secretary, for gracing the occasion, and also for the rest of us. So I come from the Kenya National Innovation Agency, I lead the startup directorate, and within the agency, I'm so glad amongst the linkages that, because our core mandate is to build the national innovation systems, and I'm glad about this University Bonavisi. We've been able to partner with you. We're in our work in building linkages within institutions of higher learning and also administering the entrepreneurial innovation maturity framework. I'm glad about your institution. Now that you are coming up with a master plan, the innovation master plan, that's something that's really recommended. And also even within the department, we had the discussion. I'm glad that Dr. Becky also mentioned that you'll be launching the student-led innovation club. That's an initiative within the state agency that we're also championing within the institutions of higher learning, so that even as we have the DONS, which we have the program of research to commercialization, R2C, which Madam Secretary alluded to, they've been received. We're also looking at the essence of innovation among the students. And that's why we're saying if we can cluster these two particular sets of knowledge, so that the one is heavy so much on paper and research work that really have to go to publication. The other one is more of ideation that we just need a bit of nurturing, and we're able to come up with a prototype quite quick among the young people. So among the several aspects that any agency is running, we're glad to be here and also given opportunity always to share what more which we do. Receive regards from our Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Tony Omwansa. He mentioned to send them to you. Professor Aburu alipokea salamu. Thank you.
So good afternoon again. I'm Esther Kimani, the founder and CEO at Farmer Lifeline Technologies. And at Farmer Lifeline Technologies, we get farmers ahead of crop pests and diseases. And how we are doing this, we are using AI-enabled cameras that are mounted on the farm. They continuously capture images of the crops, and once there is a pest or a disease, a farmer is notified through a simple SMS on the mobile phone in their local language. I'm very humbled to be before such a distinguished audience, and I feel like this for me is a full circle moment where the university invested in me as a student, and now I'm getting an opportunity to also give back to the university. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, thank you so much for that brief introduction. You can agree with me that we have a very powerful panelist that will help us learn through the journey of innovation. To start us off is a question to each and every panelist. And the question is, in your view, what do you consider as the most important innovation or approach that Africa should prioritize to strengthen climate change resilience over the next decade? We have already established the order. Please go ahead.
All right. Hello? Yeah. Well, I want to say that, in my opinion, the agricultural world, actually, the agricultural sphere is where all of us, in one way or another, in fact, in the most basic manner, we are pegged in agriculture as a country and as an individual and as organizations and as whatever it is that we identify ourselves with. And therefore, I tend to think that the most critical priority should be given in innovations that touch on agriculture. Why? Because as a country, actually the bigger part of our GDP is very dependent on agriculture. As families, we are depending on food. As institutions, we are depending on the income that our parents and our different institutions are making. And if you look at actually the statistics, more than 40% of all the monies that are circulating in this country are somehow directly pegged to agriculture. So With that in mind, I'm thinking that we should look at regenerative, circular, and sustainable agriculture or agricultural systems as a key priority area in terms of prioritization of innovation, particularly pegged to climate resilience issues. Thank you.
Thank you. I will be a little bit biased in my answer from the energy point of view. And I think for me, when you talk about climate change resilience, we must talk about adaptation and mitigation and look at what is the Africa's focus and what is Africa's vision. And we can only find that in the Agenda 2063. I think, Madam Secretary, you mentioned that in the morning. Sorry, just this afternoon. And for me, if you examine what the Agenda 2063 is talking about, we need to look at the 7 pillars, for example, that talks about one of them, for example, being the inclusive growth and sustainable development, apart from other things. But if you look under that, you also find that energy, or rather renewable energy, is one of the focus that's given there to pay attention to. Now, you take it further in that examination. Now you look at renewable energy, what is it that we need to focus on? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to submit to you that climate change attributes about 80% of all energy contribution to climate change. And out of that, you are getting that unless you pay attention to bioenergy. Now that's where my point is coming to. So we need to focus on energy to abate climate change because of the massive contribution that makes agriculture. I agree, it's a very, very important topic, but it's only contributing about 22%. That doesn't mean that should not be an issue of attention. Of course, we need to find ways to abate that 22%. But for energy, I think it's very, very critical, and for Africa, for it to pull through in climate resilience, we must look at factors of production for energy, and we must look at what is the most potent source, which to me is bioenergy. Now, bioenergy, I'll tell you what, let's talk of 70% of our population depend on bioenergy resources. So unless you put our mouth on where our foot is, we are not going to achieve the goal of getting that climate resilience. So if you ask me 1,000 times, I'll tell you, let's look at energy, let's look at renewable energy as a way of solution and mitigation, and specifically, let's look at bioenergy. And if I look at our agricultural production, for example, and the amount of agricultural waste that we get, for example, we saw a lot of innovations coming up how to how to handle the 40% loss. And I'm telling you, if we can do recycling of our agricultural waste, we are going to abate so much of climate issues just by using bioenergy resources, by recycling our agricultural waste as it was. So I think for me, that's what it is. And by the way, the IEA statistics are also stunning, that in the next maybe decade or so, about 40% of contribution will be from bioenergy resources itself. And then just to mention biogas, where I mean more majorly, again, in the next 8 years, about 200 million population of the world will be served by biogas resources as well. So I think let's see where the focus should be. And for me, we should focus on bioenergy. And I think the process that is being handled by Africa and the approach that is being given is interesting because, for example, you have the Mission 300 that has just come up recently, and they're looking at the mini grids, the solar. But I'm a little bit disappointed that little is being talked about by energy as a resource. But for me, that's my take. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I would like to take it the approach on how do we really help in terms of the climate change and sustainability bit of it. Within the agency, we are currently looking at innovations in terms of clustering. One of the clusters that we have begun with this financial year is called the bioeconomy. Some scholars will term it as bioscience. In other quarters, they call it bioeconomy. So it's just a nomenclature issue to some at a particular different levels. And we are looking at it at a point of how do we help even our institutions of higher learning to be able to specialize in particular areas of innovation. Because I believe for any change, even at the agency, what we always allude to, that the universities become our source of help at any particular point. This is because all wealth in the country resides within the university. So we'll begin at it in terms of what areas can the universities, in terms of that sustainability in the climate change, can a particular institutions or particular institutions, I'm glad what Madam Secretary alluded to, institutions being able to work together to be able to achieve, let's say this particular equipment ain't here. I remember when I was in undergrad, I was in Jomo Kenyatta University. We will have students from Masinde Muliro School of Engineering coming to use our labs at a particular time for particular, so that they're able to advance their knowledge. And I'm looking at it in that way. If we, as we are here, are the persons within the institutions of higher learning, are able to co-create solutions that are able to help us, because we live within the society and we are able to see the problems within society. I'm glad when I was here, I was talking to Dr. George. He mentioned he has a lab here, and I really wish to go and have an experience to what they do, because I'm also happy that other universities also have such areas whereby, because if we have to help even our learners to understand what is climate change, even to them, because you notice nowadays when you come to any fairs where we're talking about climate change sustainability, we have more of it going towards how does AI do this. Yet we understand climate change ordinarily will come from matters more of how do you plant more trees? How do you get sustainable drought-resistant trees? I'm glad the university invited Kefri here. I was within their stance, and I was quite amazed with the amount of research that the institution is putting towards forestation. They mentioned something about, there's an app I think, Madam Secretary, they asked you about. They said they have 734 million, but there are other people who have not uploaded that to it. So even with the rush towards 1 billion trees that the national government is pushing towards, I feel we are on the right track. And if we just harness our efforts together, then we're able to get sustainability in climate change. Thank you.
Last but not least, at least I get to summarize all the points. When I think about the priority areas when it comes to climate change, what comes to mind is mind shift. First is that mind shift, because when you talk about agriculture, you're shifting the mind of a farmer to know that there are activities that they can do that are contributing towards climate change. As a person, this plastic bottle, there's something that I can do with it that can help reduce the impact of climate change. So I think it begins with behavioral change, and it's one of the hardest things to do, because there is how people are used to doing things, and then now you want to tell them, because we've been doing this and this has been the effect, I want you to change how you've been doing things. For example, agriculture accounts for about 24% of the total greenhouse emitted. And this is because of excessive use of farm chemicals on the farm. Sometimes they are applied even when they should not be applied. And sometimes the quantities that are being used are just excess. And that's why even as Farmer Lifeline, we look at it this way. Identify the pest in good time and recommend the exact quantity that the farmer should apply. And it doesn't have to be a chemical. It can actually be a natural way of controlling the pests and diseases. For example, how many of us knew in the room that if you intercrop sukuma wiki and spring onions, you are controlling the aphids already, without having to go to an agrovet and buying a pesticide. So I think it also begins with people embracing that there are behaviors that we have as individuals that are also contributing towards climate change, and then making intentional steps, whether as a farmer, in the energy sector, as a student, so that we are looking at our curriculums and how we can change their behavior. I think I would pin it down to behavioral change.
Thank you very much for that introduction and for telling us more about what you do in your organizations. I'm sure our audience has seen the kind of, and felt the passion of what you do. Our next question goes to David, Jesse. Jesse, you spoke passionately about bioenergy and in your work at Bionet and KEPSA. I believe you have so many stakeholders that you work with. And as a university, we're also very much interested in collaborating, and we have quite a number of stakeholders, and we're still searching for more. Jesse, what have you learned about building partnerships that can drive a coordinated renewable energy transition in East Africa?
Just let me give a little bit of my history concerning this particular question. I've been in the space of building partnerships, I think, for the last 15 years, or even slightly more. And one of the things that we started looking at is what is the impact of silo kind of approach in building in building development and coalition building process. If I may give you an example, again, in my biogas sector, we started noticing a lot of, fake systems coming up and all manner of behavior just because it was a new technology. And so people are doing all sorts of things. So the first thing that we realized that we need to identify who are the players and bring them together as an association. So that we did sometime in 2007. But then further on, now as the sector grew, so many other niche affiliations are also coming up. And so again, there was now intra-competition, as it were. Now, going further, so we said, let's create an umbrella body that does that. So then we have to work with KEPSA and other organizations to be able to create an umbrella body that would do that. Now, if you look at the situation in Africa today, and let's say about East Africa, there's a lot of splintering of organizations and a lot of lack of collaboration that's happening. I know, for example, we have the power pool, for East Africa, the East African power pool. And then also the efforts, for example, to build the kind of policy that is universal for East Africa around, say, the energy sector. But you find that the stakeholders who are involved are sometimes not working in sync. One of the stakeholders that I could mention here is, for example, our governments. If you look at the East African pool, for example, the East African community, there's not enough resources being provided to create the kind of coalition building that's required to ease in certain sectors of the economy to be released for the bigger economy for East Africa as a whole. Now, one of the things that I think I've experienced so far is that when you provide innovations that help people to identify with themselves personally and also help them to see what the immediate benefits are, then you're able to create that much appetite and interest to be able to bring about the coalition that you need. And so that's the thing that we've been doing. For example, right now we are working with within the bioenergy sector, and that's why, for example, when we came to the University of Eldoret, there was now a big umbrella organization that's able to work with them in building the biogas sector for them in this particular university. And so my experience has been that if you bring the interest of people together and identify the niche areas that need to be developed and create sync and common interest in those areas, you're able to build the kind of coalition building that is required. But one thing that I think is so far lacking, that is really very, very important in terms of research and innovation, is industry versus academic liaison. And I think that is something that we need to work on a lot, because the gap is huge. Even in fact, it was mentioned here earlier, the gap is huge between industry and academic liaisons. So I think there's need for us to really build along that area and to pool our experience, both from the research point of view and from the industrial point of view, to create the kind of partnership and level of coalitions that are required to build momentum to create development in those particular areas that we're talking about. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you much for that intervention. Our next question goes to Mr. Alan Ligare. I know you have been involved so much in converting the agricultural and domestic waste into biofertilizers. So in your own view, how do you see waste to value innovations reshaping Kenya's agricultural sector for climate resilience?
Well, I want to say that, first of all, we've, in the last 1 year alone, we've worked with more than 36 different youth groups in the country, just helping them, courtesy of course, development partners of the country like GIZ, just helping these youth understand that there is actually value in waste, the circularity aspect of the organic waste generated in this country, which apparently forms more than 60% of the kind of waste that we're generating. And we see a very big opportunity in this waste sector, particularly in terms of job creation for the youth. From the 36 groups that we are working with, each group had actually 10 members. So you can imagine we empowered 360 youths across the Western region only within a very short period of 8 months, and enable them to build sustainable businesses from waste that they generate or other people generate from within their localities, using this waste to convert it efficiently into something of value. Our approach is usually using black soldier flies and red worms. Once we have the byproducts of these creatures, the black soldier flies and the red worms, we do value addition of the byproducts and now create biofertilizers. Now we are working into now making actually certified food or feed products for our animals, including poultry, pigs and fish. There's also a chance of doing cattle as well, that is cows, sheep and goats. Yeah, so I want to say that
problem, and they found a solution and they are feeding the nation. The second example was something that you have never thought about. We know we've been taught about evaporation, condensation, freezing. Which is the other one? Which one am I missing? I know I have a lot of professors here, they can help us. Yes. So one of them looked at condensation. Do you know what condensation is? Is where vapor is now turned to the liquid water. And so one of them thought, now since we are a desert, but the air we breathe must have a level of humidity. Why don't we use this condensation process, get water from the atmosphere which is free, and use it for drinking water? Have you ever thought about something like that? We haven't. But you see, it springs forth from a problem that they have seen. There is the knowledge that someone has gotten, and now they are applying it to now actually make a living, and they are employing other people. So what I believe is, even when you're looking at climate change, yes, it's a problem, but as we look at it as a problem, what are some of the solutions that we can come up with? And that way, we will also bring about, bringing down the unemployment levels. Because you'll have started a business, you will employ 10 people, you will also be a solution to the unemployment in the nation. So I think let's really trigger our minds towards problem solving. Even when we are thinking about this big climate change, how can I solve it in a small way but still make an impact? Yeah, thank you.
Hello. Yeah, now to Mr. Philip. I know you do much and your focus is on the innovation and commercialization. We would like you to just share the strategies that you think universities and counties should adopt to strengthen the innovation pipeline for climate resilience.
Okay, thank you so much for that particular question. I look at it, how does university strengthen the pipeline? University already have pipeline to start with. One, the pipeline from, I believe, last 2 days when we would see the pipeline in terms of 700,000 amount of, let me say, youths that come to institutions of higher learning. That can be TVETs and also universities. That already is a good pipeline. Number two, we have a pipeline that we have within our university, the faculty members. That is another good pipeline. The only place that how we get to build the pipeline in terms of innovations is now where we are able to encourage the university to communicate with the industry so that they're able to understand what the industry needs. I've had a chance to talk to a couple of the innovators here. One question I keep asking them, who are you making this innovation for? Then they have these nice slides, tell me it's for the farmer, for this person. Then I ask him or her, how many farmers have you talked to that mentioned they are having this problem? The obvious reason is, niliona jirani yangu, or niliona. Pipeline is created essentially by understanding the problem of the person you want to solve for. I sometimes feel shy, or sometimes I feel shy when I see most of our innovators, or most of the persons, even when you go to the R2C program, you notice that the research that we come up with sometimes essentially does not solve, or this problem it is solving, the person whom you are solving for already is comfortable without that solution. And for us to build that strong pipeline is how do we help these particular persons who are our innovators, our researchers, help them during prototyping so that they keep on iterating this particular prototype, this particular idea, so that they don't die. When I was mentioning the valley of death, we don't die within that valley. But how do we help them? And this is in terms of what we saw that the universities should be able to set aside money to help the faculty and also help our students. I'm glad what some of the initiatives the university is doing, whereby yesterday we saw here, let me give the reference of Dr. George, about there's a challenge that is happening. I don't know if it's Netherlands, if I'm not wrong. Maybe I've mentioned it wrongly, whereby you introduce students more to such opportunities so that they're able also to learn from other people and help them see what do other people do. My fellow panelist here mentioned how she went to Dubai. You see, when we have more people getting the experience, you are able to see how we can also solve what we have locally. My push to it is let's have more linkages within the universities, and that is between university and the universities, and also universities so much with the industry. Already universities doing so well with the government. Their only challenge is how do they interconnect with what the industry needs. Thank you.
Questions. I'm sure you've heard the answers to the questions we've asked our panelists. So we have time for about 3 questions so that we go home provoked to become innovators. Would you have about 3 questions for our panelists?
Just raise your hand where you are.
We have 2 there. George, you're sure you don't have a question? We have 3. Thank you.
I can go?
Yes, go on.
Okay, thank you, panelists, for the very engaging session and the information and the experiences that you've given us. We are going to learn a lot of that from that. Now my question goes to Mzuri organics. Now, I can clearly see that you are very much interested in circular economy. That is what you are dealing with. Now, from research I've done previously, I've realized that that is an area in universities which is not really well developed. So now my question is, what are you doing in terms of being able to translate that knowledge and the skills that you have to the academia, so that we can be able to, for example, pass that knowledge to the students, so that you can also get labor out of it, because it seems like it is a symbiotic relationship. You gain from us, we gain from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mine is actually not a question, but it's a comment, somehow a comment and an encouragement to especially the youths and the researchers, because I take all students from the university to be researchers. We are currently having a challenge accessing charcoal in Kenya, and I've been looking around. I don't see any alternative to charcoal. Why can't we use that opportunity to come up with something that can act as charcoal, now that the forest ban that had been placed has been lifted? We have tons and tons of sawdust just lying out there. Can somebody think about it and come up with an alternative to charcoal as an innovation? Thank you.
My question is on IT, use of modern technology to detect pests. I am an entomologist, an integrated pest management expert, and I'm so excited that you have come up with that innovation. In fact, the biggest problem is being able to detect the pest and being able to control it in a more manageable way rather than polluting the environment. What I want to learn from you is, how far is this knowledge, how far is it spread? Thank you.
Okay, any other that's really burning? Fanuel. Okay. And then at least one from the student? Okay, fine.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for the panelists. I think I've got two questions. My first question is to Esther. Yeah, I would have loved to hear more of a preventive rather than a control way to assist the farmers, because for the detection part, it's after it has happened. Is there a thinking that we can have whereby we talk of before it happens? Because now for you is that the technology you are applying is that it's already in the field, you detect, and you can now say this is it.
You have 1 minute to ask your question. Sorry, Doc. 1 minute, please.
Okay. So I would have loved to know about what is the preventive. To the agents, think Steve. Is it Steve? Yes. I believe yours is majorly on the policy issue. I don't know if I'm right. How do you work with academia in relation to that? And then finally to Ligare, what is it about the regenerative agriculture and agroecology in relation to climate change resilience? Thank you.
Let's have the question from one comrade there.
Okay, thank you. I'm Gideon, specialist in aquaculture. So my question is to Esther on AI use on crops. I'm more interested in livestock, probably in fisheries. We have seen you have many diseases in the sector. So my question is it possible? Do you have any AI tools? Are you planning to enter into livestock science, probably in fisheries where I've made research on AI tools and I've seen they are used in other parts of the world. So is it capable to be used in here?
I think we can try and give answers to the questions. in whatever order.
Hello? Yeah, let me respond to the charcoal question because I think that touches very closely on something that's very dear to my heart. And it's all about how do we resource our energy production. If you look at the three most prevalent energy sources that we have in Kenya is charcoal, LPG, and firewood. The charcoal ban took place, but even when it was revived, it was not a free hand. That now, you just go cutting trees. I remember when Kitui County banned charcoal a few years back. I had the opportunity to go and do a study to look at the impact of the charcoal ban. But you realize that if you don't give people an alternative, and that's exactly, I think, what your point is. I would like to let you know that we have very, very good plausible alternatives to charcoal, including briquettes, including pellets, and other derivatives that go with it. So we have an organization currently that actually bringing together private sector players in the briquette making scene. But again, let's be realistic as a country. We cannot say that you're banning charcoal completely, or that you're banning, that you cannot use charcoal. I think what we need to do is to create a transition whereby you manage behavior change as well as technology transfer, and also getting newer methods of generating energy. And so far, I can tell you for a fact, those of you who are thinking of going into bioenergy resourcing, think about briquettes. It's a very good area where you can make quick money, good money, because there's a lot of move towards, of course, sustainable energy resourcing, and also pellets as well. So charcoal, yes, we can do charcoal, but it must be from a sustainable point of view. Or we can actually revert straight away to using pellets and briquettes, which are also can be produced from the bioenergy resources that we have other than just cutting trees. For example, sawdust that you just mentioned. Yeah, I don't know if that helps to answer your question. But
okay, thank you for the questions. I'll start with the first one where there's any role that you're playing in translating the knowledge and the skills that we have to academia. There's a program that we are currently under the TACDEV 2.0 program right now, together with AIM Hub at the Innovation Center of the university. There's a program that we are participating in, and under the leadership of Dr. George Aria. And the plan is that we will work very closely to help spread these skills and knowledge to the youths within the university and, of course, surrounding community, even beyond that area. We are thinking of going way beyond, all the way to Bungoma, Homa Bay, and any other place that we can get to, of course, with availability of resources, in a way that we will be able to help the community, or the youth and women in our community who are the vulnerable part of the population, to develop sustainable businesses within the circular economy. And the plan is that we want to create suppliers. We think we have a little bit more knowledge on how to process this waste, and on how to make premium products out of what we get from the processing of the waste. So we want to create a chain of suppliers out here, so that whatever it is that they do, for example, through vermicomposting, the vermicompost that they produce, they know for sure that they have a ready market with us, with Mzuri Organic, that we will offtake, and we will offtake at a very good price. You can imagine a youth getting 20,000 shillings from just a ton of waste that has been bioconverted within a period of 35 days. Is that not good money? Is that not sustainable job creation? So such are the plans that we have in terms of transferring the knowledge and the skills that we have. And we want to do this through the academia, so that the university can develop proper, let me say, curriculum for vermicomposting and for other bioconversion methods that we know. This is one. And to Dr. Litting, how regenerative farming is interlinked with the climate change. I'd say that just to begin with, soil is a very, very major carbon sink to start with. And just from that basis alone, soil cannot be a carbon sink if it is unhealthy, if we have pumped it with chemicals and it doesn't have enough microbes, enough life, let me call it, soil organic matter. So as we are doing regenerative farming is about health, the health of the soil. The more healthier the soil is, the better carbon sink it becomes. That is one. And two, the more regenerative farming we do, it means we are using less and less chemicals. Basically, it is said that 2% of, actually production of fertilizers only contributes to about 2% of the carbon or the climate, should I say greenhouse gas emissions, 2%, which is a big deal. So you can imagine if you can just reduce that to, if a farmer today was told that it is possible for you to use just 10 kilos of DAP on your 1 acre of land instead of those who are using 100 kilos right now in Trans Nzoia. If you can reduce from 100 kilos to 10 kilos and get better yields and revive your soils, replacing the other 90 kilos with a regenerative input like good compost, will that not reduce the amount of power and energy and resources that we are using to produce and transport these chemicals to us? And will that not also be a way of mitigating climate change? Yeah, so those would be very direct ways of how these two are interlinked. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we had a question for Philip and a question for Esther. In the interest of time, please take the shortest time possible to give your responses.
Okay, yeah, sure, thank you. I haven't noticed you're running out of time. Okay, you mentioned about policy. So essentially, the agencies do not make policy. Any policy is always made at the State Department. Though what interventions do we have? One is we have the Entrepreneurial Institutional Maturity Framework, which even this university is part of that wave, where we are driving that change. We are driving it through, we diagnose the system so that you're able to see where you are and able to see what do you go to. One of the aspects that I'm glad that even here you have begun is the technology transfer offices. In other places, we call it the TTOAS, Technology Transfer Office as a Service. Because that also helps when building the pipeline. Because that's the office whereby we have the IP that helps with even the research outputs, how do we protect them. Two, that even this now we go to, we've also helped the universities come up with master plans. And these are innovation master plans. And this is going a long way to help institutions of higher learning how to manage innovation here. If we say, if you win a grant, let's say the 10% remain with the university, then those should be put in a policy within the university that discuss with the council. My last input will be, last week, I'm glad Professor Aburu is here, we hosted the entrepreneurship summit, where we also trying to see how does the universities able to teach entrepreneurship towards innovation. Because I'm glad Esther mentioned here about the youth not to think about the jobs, but how do the youth start thinking about employment, but how do they start thinking about creating that employment themselves, which is a key thing. I'm glad the Commission of we call it the Commission of something, or of University Education, thank you so much, Prof, actually mentioned to the universities that nothing holds you back from even changing your way of promoting the lecturers. Let's say we've been used to the way of publications. Can we also adopt the way whereby if a university comes up with patents, is able to register patents, let's say 3 patents, then they can they can find a way to scale them, depending on what a university council decides to. So these are also areas that we see, how do we rethink our way of running innovation and also our universities. Thank you.
I'll also try to be very brief because I got 3 questions. How diverse is the technology? First, I can answer it from a geographical point of view. We have presence in Kenya, and we've done pilots in 5 African countries, and the innovation has proven successful. So we are looking to scale, and we've also filed for a patent at the African level. In terms of the species, we have over 12,000 species of pests and diseases being detected by each one of our devices. How that happens, you can see me behind the tent, and we will discuss more. For the second question is detecting the pests before they actually hit the farm. So what happens with the device on the farm, it will continuously capture the images. So an image is also data. So over time, we have a lot of data on when certain pests hit, when the weather is like this, when the climate is like this. So we do actually send SMSs. When there's a lot of humidity, you can tell farmers in this region, prepare for aphids because the humidity levels are this high. And all this is driven by data. Then something like locusts, you can tell when the heat wave is coming a certain direction, farmers can actually prepare for that. So that is possible. Then the last question on whether we can detect the diseases and pests on livestock. So that goes into research and development. Research and development requires a lot of time and also finances. So what we've done as Farmer Lifeline, we've stayed on the line of pests and diseases for crops. We are not closed to livestock, but we know in due time we can also get into that value chain also of livestock. Because we've already patented on this side of the crops, that will also take a certain process. I would be glad to have you on our team if you have knowledge on diseases when it comes to livestock. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, our panelists. I know we are pressed with time, and some of us are traveling, but it will be unfair not to give you just under 1 minute as we are parting short, starting from Mr. Alan moving there. Please let us utilize under 1 minute. It's a parting shot.
All right, thank you very much. It's been an engaging one, a very insightful one. But I would like to just say one thing, that for whatever we are dreaming for to come to fruition, that we need support. We need different kinds of support. First of all, we need, of course, enabling policy. Enabling policy needs to start from home, right from our own homes, not just at the government level only. As parents, as brothers, as sisters, we should give an enabling environment to these young people who are supposed to innovate. If we don't give them that enabling environment, then it becomes almost impossible. Number 2, we wish there was a way we would get patient financing, patient capital. And because most of the time we have very good ideas in our heads, but we can't take them to the next level because we don't have the resources. Yeah, and most of the time we say, mkono mtupu haurambwi. If we can help a young person to start something, and then they have something on their hand to show, it becomes very easy for them to get that support. So if we have that opportunity, why can't we do that so that somebody else can be able to ramba mkono wa this youth? Yeah. Let me stop there. Thank you.
Thank you. I think my parting shot goes back to what I mentioned earlier. You've had a great week, sustainable innovations for climate change resilience. My parting shot for you guys, let us know where will get our most advantage in terms of creating leverage for climate change resilience. And as I've mentioned earlier, please, let's look at energy resourcing, because that's it's a big problem. You know, that's where the huge issue of climate impact is coming from. As I mentioned, we talk about 80%. So please, I know there's a lot of interest in so many other areas, but I wish our professors and even the students could pick up the issue of renewable energy. It's an expanding space, very rapidly growing, and very profitable. You know, if you find innovations that can solve some of these issues, including some such simple things as how we can make charcoal even more sustainable or other alternatives that we have. So let's focus on where it really matters the most and leverage our resources and all our intellect and research and everything to see what best we can do in that particular area that gives us the biggest impact possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to give my parting shot to thank the university administration for having such forum. For me, this is encouraging, given that the seventh one, because it makes us have the communication and also have that networking whereby we have the government speak, we have the private sector have their say, and we also have now the university, the academia, also be able to showcase what they do have. My encouragement to the young people, there is help. Just open your eyes, there is help. The government is always here to look into that. Yesterday, I mentioned to you about the Presidential Innovation Award and Challenge. I will challenge you kindly, make your applications to this and many other more that do come. Thank you.
For me, my parting shot would be towards innovation, not to any particular generation, but to all of us, that failure is just not acting. That is what I would consider failure. It's not that you started something, it did not work. The fact that you failed to even start it, that is failure. And if you work on your first innovation and it doesn't work, congratulations. You are doing innovation the right way. That is how we also started. So let's keep up the fire.
Thank you very much, our panelists, for the day. Let's stand up and clap for our panelists. It's only that time was pressing us a bit, but I'm sure you've gotten something that you can take home. Let's clap. Let's clap like continuously until I say stop. So start. 1, 2, 3. Continue. Ongeza. You are not doing it well. Ongeza. Asanteni sana. Please continue sitting where you are. We want you to stand, and then we want the photographer to be ready and to do what he does best, and then give me some smiles. Okay, good. Now you want a good photo for our panelists today. No, this is just for you. Yeah, just for our panelists. Yeah, that smile, yes, good. Thank you very much. Until Simwa says is done. Good. Asanteni sana. I'm going to invite our DVC, Professor Raburu, to appreciate our panelists. Prof, karibu. Thank you very much. Let's clap for our guests. renewable energy. Thank you very much, David. Asante sana. Panelists, don't go very fast. We have to take one photo with the DVC and the other VCs who are around. Thank you very much. Asante sana. So let's have one photo for the panelists and the DVCs and the directors who are around. Yes, here, I think would be okay. Professor, join. No, I see Professor Agwins. Join this photo too. Yeah. and I beg you. Thank you very much. Prof, you want to say something? Okay, I want to invite Dr. Emily. Amy, a quick prayer, and then we have lunch at the guest house. Yes, there's lunch. A short one.
Wait, let's all stand. Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, we come before you this afternoon. We thank you, Lord, and we bless you. Thank you for this meeting that we have just concluded, Lord. We thank you for your presence. Thank you, Lord, for each and every one of us who have shared their ideas. Some of us have learned, Lord. We ask you that you may bless us, that, Lord, even the innovations that have been showcased, Lord, we pray that you may help us, that we may put them into action for the benefit of our nation. We glorify you. Thank you for each and every one of us who attended. Thank you for the host institution, Lord, for enabling them to host this innovation. Pray that you may continue to bless the institution, lift them up, O King of Glory. The other institutions who participated, Lord, we ask you that you may continue to bless them, that we may partner and also grow strong and continue innovating for the benefit of our country. We glorify you, bless us as we depart, be with us, Jehovah, and continue to guide us with your grace. Strengthen us and be with us, Jehovah, for we ask all this with thanksgiving in our hearts in Jesus' name.